the creator of One Piece. Ichiro Oda recently said that people can start One Piece from the Arc of Wano, because it is the most important of all and directly links to the end of the series. And you can really start from there, and get the good fragments that the series presents along the time. So that's why I made this mega summary of all arcs and sagas until you get to Wano. But with this video you will know all the details. So let's get started and get to know the whole story of One Piece. The first arc is called Romance Dawn and is part of the East Blue Saga, Wealth, Fame and Power. The man who got everything in this world, the Pirate King, Gold Roger. The last words spoken by this pirate before his execution were sent across the sea. My wealth and treasures? If you want it, I'll let you have it, search for it. I left all of it at that place. Men now run toward the Grand Line in pursuit of their dreams. The world enters the great age of pirates. We are presented with Luffy, a boy who dreams of becoming the great king of pirates and finding One Piece. One Piece is the supreme treasure hidden by Gold Roger, the only pirate who has ever used the title of Pirate King. Shanks the Red-Haired, a pirate who is protected by residents of the village of Luffy. He is a role model and inspiration for the young boy who dreams of becoming a pirate. Shanks saved the boy's life. One day Luffy eats one of the demon's fruits, an Akuma no Mi. What makes him an elastic man? He gains powers and turned into rubber. These fruits grant power in exchange that the user will never be able to swim again if they fall into the water, or they will sink. Something a pirate will surely see no advantage. Akuma no Mi are a complete mystery within the world of One Piece, and it is not known who created them or where they came from. And from his village, Shanks gives Luffy his straw hat, and the boy promises that one day he will surpass him and he will return the straw hat to the red-haired. 6 years after this meeting, Luffy leaves his village to build his crew and find the One Piece, but unable to sail alone. He locks himself in a barrel and is caught by the pirate crew of Lady Alvida, where he meets Kobe, a young man who dreams of becoming a sailor. After mismatches, they then know Roronoa Zoro, a terrible bounty hunter who is held captive by the Marines. After some days, Zoro ends up agreeing to join Luffy crew as a fighter, as long as Luffy can find his swords, which are held by Captain Morgan, the chief of the Marines of that island. After a fight against Axe-Hand Morgan, Luffy manages to take all 3 swords and leaves with Zoro, leaving Kobe alone so he can realize his dream of becoming a sailor. After that we have the Arc of Orange Town. Luffy and his first crew member Zoro. They reach the island of Orange Town, where they find a thief named Nami who hates pirates. The trio make a very unlikely team, fighting to free the city from the domain of Buggy the Clown, a user of Akuma no Mi who can split himself into several pieces. Fortunately, they succeed and Nami joins the crew of Luffy as their navigator. We entered the Arc of Syrup Village. After Nami forms a partnership with the two, as your browser, the crew arrives on an island and is looking for a ship to reach the Grand Line, place where the great pirates gathered. Currently, they had only one boat and without a ship they couldn't advance. There, they find a chronic liar called Usopp. When the dishonest plot is revealed on this island, the courage of Usopp is put to the test, and the Straw Hat Pirates have to prepare for a huge battle against the Black Cat Pirates. After this, Usopp joins the crew as a sniper, and they also get their first ship called Going Merry. Then we enter the Arc Baratai, with Usopp already on the team as a sniper. They set off in search of a cook for the ship. The Straw Hat Pirates will end up in a sea restaurant known as Baratai. However, the restaurant is attacked by the powerful pirate Don Krieg, who returned from the Grand Line and wants to use Baratai to re-establish himself. Nami runs away taking the Straw Hat ship, the Going Merry, and Sanji, one of Baratai cooks, joins the crew of Luffy. Here we are introduced to the Shichibukais, pirates allied with the world government who keep the order of the seas. Zoro suffers a defeat for this warlord named Dracul Mihawk, the Hawkeyes, the strongest swordsman in the world, and Zoro promises his captain Luffy that he would never lose again. He promises to defeat Mihawk, Hawkeyes and become the world's greatest swordsman. We entered the Arc of Arlong Park, already with Sanji becoming the crew's cook. Nami, who had stolen the Straw Hat ship, ran away, but they followed her to an island under the control of a pirate fishman named Arlong. Nami reveals that she is actually a member of the Arlong Pirates, and simply helped the Straw Hats so she could steal all their treasure. We later learned that actually Arlong, he has held hostage all the inhabitants of the village of Nami. Luffy, knowing that his navigator was actually threatened by Arlong, decided to confront him. So after a long fight, he defeats the pirate and Nami definitely enters the crew of Luffy. We arrived at the Arc of Log Town, after Nami officially joins the team. We arrived in the last city before entering the Grand Line. Log Town, the place where Joel D. Roger, the Pirate King, was born and executed. Not only will they have to deal with a powerful Navy captain who is on site, but also former enemies seeking revenge. Luffy, who prefers to visit the place of execution of the Pirate King. He eventually captured by Buggy the Clown, who made an alliance with the pirate Alvida. While the latter was about to kill Luffy, a storm and lightning strike, knocking out Buggy and freeing our hero. When Navy Commander Smoker invades the site, the pirates decide to flee. However, when Smoker manages to capture Luffy, the young man ends up being saved by a mysterious man who we later learn is called Monkey D. Dragon, the revolutionary and, in fact, father of Monkey D. Luffy. With that we ended the East Sea Saga and started the Alabasta Saga. We start with the arc of the Reverse Mountain. The crew has entered the Grand Line but encounters a major obstacle. As soon as they comes in, a giant whale practically swallows the whole ship. Laboon is a whale that has been waiting for 50 years. A group of pirates who promised to return to see her after traveling the world. Luffy has met her after crossing the Reverse Mountain, a place with inverted currents that allows one to cross the Great Stone Barrier that divides the seas of One Piece. The Red Line. At the entrance of the Grand Line is where they learn the history of the whale Laboon, with Crocus, a retired doctor who takes care of the local lighthouse, and where they hear the name of the last island of the Grand Line, one that contains the treasure One Piece. This place is called Raftel. Luffy has promised to return to see the whale and departs in sequence. Already at sea, Luffy and his team will meet agents of a mysterious organization called Baroque Works, including a girl named Vivi. We entered the arc of Whiskey Peak. The crew of Luffy arrives at Whiskey Peak, an island famous for hosting pirates who have just entered the Grand Line. However, it is really a meeting place for Baroque Works, and our heroes will also fall victim to the ambush of these mysterious agents. But it will take much more to stop them. At the end of the fight, they will discover the true identity of Vivi, who was princess of the Kingdom of Alabasta, and she reveals to them that her country is under threat of Crocodile, a Shichibukai who started a civil war. Luffy decides to take her on his ship to help save her kingdom. The Arc of Little Garden. It is an arc that takes place on a prehistoric and deserted island, and their Straw Hat friends will meet two giants called Dory and Broggy who have been fighting for over 100 years without a winner, and for reasons that they have already forgotten. However, several Baroque Works agents infiltrate this island searching for Vivi, causing new fights. In turn, Sanji can fool Mr. Zero, one of the members of this organization, and recovers an eternal pose, a compass that always points to the island of Alabasta. We arrived at the Arc of the Drum Kingdom. When the crew is on their way to the Kingdom of Alabasta, Nami becomes seriously ill and with a lot of fever. They then stop at Drum Island, a winter island, and after a very hostile reception, the inhabitants eventually accept that Nami be examined by a doctor. On their journey, they will meet Tony Chopper, a reindeer who ate an Akuma no Mi from the human model and became half man and half reindeer. The young Chopper is very well versed in the medical sciences. Meanwhile, the tyrant Wapple has returned to the island, and there will be a fight after which Chopper will join the Luffy team as a doctor. Finally, we enter the Arc of Alabasta. The Straw Hat crew and Vivi finally make it to the desert kingdom of Alabasta, intending to dismantle Baroque Works and destroy the ambitions of Crocodile. Luffy stumbles upon the sailor Smoker who was on site again. He had already anticipated all Straw Hat movements, but Luffy manages to escape thanks to his brother who shows up. His name is Portgasti Ace. He found Luffy by chance and helped him escape, as Crocodile tries to realize his plans to conquer the entire kingdom. Our heroes end up recognizing the full extent of the evil spreading across the country. Drought, rebellions, and civil war threats. They then decide to go straight to the pirates' hideout to face it, but they're caught in a trap. Luffy is left to die after the confrontation with Crocodile, after a duel where he failed to do anything against the villain, because his Sand Akuma no Mi powers were too strong for Luffy to fight. The events ended up ending in one place, the kingdom capital, where the army confronted the rebels and the agents of Baroque Works confronted the crew of Luffy. The bloody and epic battle between the rebels and the army took place on one side, and Baroque Works and our heroes of the other, taking the defeat of Crocodile and his plans when Luffy realizes that his blood allowed him to hit Crocodile. Because of the humidity, Luffy also gets a new crew member, Nico Robin, who was an ally of Shichibukai who used the name Miss All Sunday, and 100 million bounty bonus. All deeds of saving the country have been attributed to Smoker, who did not agree with this lie of the world government, but he understood that pirates couldn't take credit for saving a country. We arrived at the Arc de Jaya.